Welcome to LMG Garage. Today we're going to be working on a project we've had banging around the shop for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. And it's a 50 Ford shoebox, which means it's a 49 to 50 business coupe, which is kind of a neat car. Today we're going to neaten up. We're going to take the transmission out. The motor's already been removed. We'll get into that later. We're going to be pulling the transmission out today, the exhaust system, and all that. I want to, scrape down the frame, wire brush it, clean it up. Brand new floors put on, really came out nice. Give my credit to my son Jason, and then the trunk, give my credit to Joey. He also did the dash in this car. It's a very cool car. We're going to put a small block Chevy in it. It's already rebuilt. And we'll lift it up and see what we can do. You can see it really needs, the frame needs to be wire brushed. Frame's extremely solid. Again, the floors have already been put in. My son made the floors. They're extremely, he did a great job on them. Again, we're going to neaten it up, pull the transmission out. And yes, that's a Turbo Hydro 350. I used to have a 350 in this. Pulled the motor out, rebuilt it already. We're going to throw the motor back in. We're not sure we're going to put for a transmission, but those are the beautiful floors my son put in. I'm going to pull the drive shaft out, clean everything up, paint it up, make it look pretty. And going to pull the dual exhaust out. New fuel pump, obviously. I'm going to pull the drive shaft off. Going to clean up the rear end. We might end up with a Chevy S10 rear end. We're not quite sure. Again, this isn't a race car. It's kind of a cruiser, but it's going to look a little bit like a gasser, which would be kind of neat. So is all charged up. Always wear your safety glasses. Tell you another funny story. Joey's going to get mad when I tell you this. He was cutting something, and he had to go to the merchant room. Had a piece of metal in his eye, and $500 deductible. That's modern insurance nowadays. $500 deductible, and it is what it is. So it's not a little expensive to me. So it is what it is. But we're going to try to cut right here first and see what happens. We'll unjam it. There we go. It's almost off. Let's cut it this way real quick. Yeah, it's going to probably land on something, but a little rust in there, huh? Not bad. Good enough. Yeah, that's all set there. I'll cut the other one off at the same time before we start messing around. But the reason why I'm cutting these are little test pipes they put on. Again, I just want to keep all the angles that we're going to need, so when we make the custom exhaust, we'll know pretty much what we're going to look at. I mean, he's going to measure everything. He's a genius when he does this. But I want to bring him the old exhaust, say, hey, this right here is what it looked like. And it got a nice little sound to it, too. See what I mean? And we might be able to take this off one fell swoop, maybe. I think this right here will pop right off. That's nice. So let's give that a try. Again, trusty, dusty old saw will never fail me yet. Get yourself in trouble sometimes, though. I remember cutting a couple of things with the water pipe back when I worked for the gas company. The water pipe we're cutting out, and I just nicked the gas line. It was pretty much, it wasn't supposed to be where it was. It's kind of hidden in the old house. And yeah, shut the gas off quick if you're not sure. Again, these are kind of unique bends. We'll just going to set this off to the side so we get out of our way. A twist comes up, around, and then up. And there's a manifold. So yeah, it's kind of a unique, yeah, I'm going to have to cut this out, I think. It's kind of unique how they put it in. Again, it's going to be kind of a challenge to make, but my guy up at the shop up in Union, or down in Union, Chapel Tire, he knows his stuff. He's very good at that. Come right on. I put a giant lag screw in there. I mean, again, I think a lot of this is repaired on the road. I mean, the guy enjoyed it. Something falls off, he put whatever to hold it back in. Kind of funny. Yeah, it's a big lag. It's not even supposed to be like this, but it is what it is. Again, when I loosen this up, the whole thing's going to land on me. So I got to pay attention to everything. But you see how much room we're gaining now. It's kind of neat. Oh, we had a lot of bees nesting here also. That was an interesting thing. And I don't really care about bees. I mean, I get stung, I get stung. But there's other people in our family, I won't mention who, maybe both my boys, are like, they're like anti-bee 100%. They say, why don't bees bother you? I don't know. I've lived them all my life. Let's see if we can hold this thing up. I might be able to. Up and over. Again, we're in a car that's up in the air. You gotta kind of be a little bit careful with this stuff. Cable there. There we go. Pull it out now. A little rust in here, huh? No ice yet, though. Good to see those. There we go. And here's the bend. It's kind of a Mickey Mouse welded together, but that's the bend that goes up through the steering. And you plainly see we got all our exhaust off. I left the back tips on. I'll take them off later. But look how much more room I have to work around now. I got the cable out of here. Everything's pretty much where I want it to be. Now I can start concentrating on the transmission. And first thing I want to do is I want to take the lines off. I'm probably not going to use them, but I'm going to take them off anyway. I'm going to put caps on them in the transmission. Again, we use a fitting wrench, special wrench, so you don't strip them. No fun stripping anything in an aluminum transmission. Real pain in the neck. This is a 1/2 inch. So I'll break them free. There we go. And pretty much it's brass against aluminum. Actually, this right here looks like aluminum against aluminum. But it just come off nice and easy. Again, transmission fluid is an anti-seize, and I don't know if you ever use transmission fluid in a seized motor. It actually clears things up. We usually get a lot of rust in transmission lines. Fit that on. It's kind of an odd angle. There we go. Try to free it up a little. There we go. Sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. See a little bit of transmission fluid coming out, so I know I'm going to be cleaning it in a minute. Almost got it. It's just a weird angle where it is. There's a little nub next to it. Okay, that's all set there. Just going to move these out of the way. We'll pull them later. I had this here holding the transmission up when the motor was, when the torque converter was still in there. You do that so you don't wreck the seal. I'm going to change the seal anyway, but sometimes you're just working on a car. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. Take these rear mounts off. I'm going to take the top one off too. The reason for that is, and again, it's so nice having this car because it's covered in grease under here, so nothing has corroded. Usually, when you start taking you get a big wrench taking that off. Again, we'll throw these back on the mount, and so we have it. I'll probably put the mount in a little box. I'm not going to use the mount in a long time. This whole cross member is going to get redone. I'm not sure I like how it's done. And again, these things loosen up so darn nice. All right, and I'll pull the bottom ones off also. And the rubber is perish, so I'll end up putting another rubber in there. And that's after you get it all built, you'll hear a clunk. And you say, oh yeah, that's that mount. And it's a $8 mount you have to repair. You know what? I'm going to leave it just how it is. It'll lift from the top anyway. See, it's all done. All right, another thing I want to make sure I do is take and yes, I loosened it earlier, only because it was in there. The speedometer cable needs not a lot of room to maneuver that. There's a little square peg that goes in there, and it's probably jammed in there, which it is. Be very gentle. Pull it out this way. You don't want to skirt the threads like that. We will deal with that as we lower it. I'll have more room to mess around with it. All right, again, do a cursory to see if anything else is hooked to the transmission. I don't see it is. And I'm going to just loosen it a little bit. See what we can do here. I think we're in good shape. Okay, remember I said I got to go forward and go forward to go backwards, which I might have to make two. I might have enough room. Oh yeah, go sideways. Nope, that's just in there just enough. All right, I'm going to lower this just a little tiny bit. It should land right there. If it doesn't, the good thing is I just want to reposition. This is the first day with the new jack, which is very cool. I really like it. It's very nice. I got it for Father's Day, which is very cool. Got some good kids. No, not kids anymore, the men now. But I do appreciate everything they do for me. I'm not just saying that because he's my cameraman, or not cameraman, but producer. But he does a great job. And Jason's worked so hard on this car, and he's told me he's got like PTSD with it. He says, just sell it. Look at all the work he did. There's no way I'm just going to sell this. I'm going to finish this car. This is important to me. All right, push it a little further. Again, we're just inching for room. I think I go up though. Now, maybe. That stupid thing is right in the way. Damn. I'm going to lower it just a little bit more. All right, we're going to lower and bend. Almost got it there. I think if I jump now. See if I can twist it, which I can. You know what? I'm going to have to take that steering out. That's all there is to it. Oh well. I'll go get some tools. I'll take a castle nut off. I'll put it right back on. It'll be not as tight. That's what's in the way. And I'll move it. And it looks like my tubes will go over with it because they're all flexible, right? Okay, as I was saying earlier, there's a little flat spot right here that I need to put the wrench, to put a pair of pliers or a small wrench on there. If not, this 9/16 is just going to turn the body. So, and that's standard Chevrolet stuff. I'm going to hold that there. And again, it's covered in grease, which is probably a bad thing when he was driving it, but it's a very good thing now. So everything just comes off. Nice and easy. Again, there's a bunch of gunk in the threads. So we'll pull this off. And while we're doing that, I'm thinking in my head how we're going to get the castle nut off. And I got an idea. It involves a awl and this pair of wrenches right here, this pair of pliers. These are extra big pliers I got from a yard sale. I just love old tools. This channel is more reality than anything. And it's just, you know, this part of it is the pictorial part of our channel, and it's just some old guy working on an old car, and just telling you a couple little stories, and it's kind of interesting. And be able to grab this in a minute. Again, the steering shaft's off anyway, so that's a good thing. I pulled the little rubber bushing pieces off. We know where they are. I'm going to push this through because it's turned one way anyway. You hear it going shh. And I'm going to pop this right here back on and put the bolt on it, because my luck, when you go get a rebuild, they're going to ask for a core, and they're going to want the little rubber bushings or whatever, the little pieces. And we'll use a pickle fork here. Looks like, okay. See how it resembles a castle? I'll go in the light over here. Resembles a castle, and the reason for that is so you don't torque it down. You put it to a certain spec, and then you put a pin, and there's usually a hole in the shaft itself, and that's how it holds in. You bend it over, and that's how it holds itself in. But the reason why I call it a castle nut, kind of looks like a castle, doesn't it? There we go. Kind of neat. Anyway, sure everybody knew that already, but I figured I'd let you know. All right, well, we had a little mess here, and now we're going to just try to wiggle this way out. And remember dynamic loading I was telling you about? This is exactly what I was talking about. Okay, I'm going to push forward, and that's why they make speedy dry. I should have drained it more. I drained it a little bit. I thought it was enough. Oh, there we go. Now we can lower her down, and again, inch by inch. No matter how much you plan, you'll always end up. All right, that's out of the way. And of course, these lines are. Oh, got it. Lower a little more. There we go. Beautiful. All right, can lower it a little more. Let me tell you right now, I'm extremely impressed with this transmission jack. It doesn't wiggle hardly at all. Very nice, very, very nice job through Harbor Freight. That was very okay. And we were talking about earlier the speedometer cable. For some reason it doesn't want to come off. It's all done. Sometimes you have to kind of let them know who's boss. Again, I don't know how many times I've hit my head. And voila. Turbo Hydro 350 removed. I have no idea what shape it's in, but I know what shape my floor is in. And that concludes us taking the transmission out of the 50 Ford. Again, as you might realize, when you're working on an old car, you start one project, you end up doing 5 others so you can finish the other project. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, please. Bunch of grease on this, the rear end. So it's in great shape. I can't believe how nice this frame is.